So, welcome everybody. I'm Cindy Myers, and welcome to tonight's webinar, Intuitive Listening webinar on fear and healing. That is our topic tonight. And if you're interested in any of my services or other information about what I do, you're welcome to check out my website at yourenergyhealer.com. Before we get going, though, if you're having a medical emergency or your pet, if you try to reach me for your pet, please call your vet doctor or 911 if it's for yourself or a loved one. But what I can do is provide energy support, so it will help your natural healing abilities to get flowing, as well as help calm nerves down and reduce anxiety. So that's what I can do in an emergency. So let's talk about fear and healing and how are they related? Well, I'm going to talk first about just how emotions work and how energy works. We have about 30,000 thoughts a day, at least. And so every one of those has an energy component to it. And uh, when we have when we talk about emotions and these thoughts, then they actually have a chemical component to it. Our body releases, if we're having an emotion, then it releases certain hormones and chemicals in our body. I'm not a, a scientist, so I can't tell you exactly what those are, but I do know that there are chemicals that get released in our body that are related to those specific emotions. And so once those get released into our body, then our body has to do something with it. They have to dissipate somehow. And when you have about 30,000 or more a day, you may not be able to process all those emotions out, especially if you're having really big, a big emotional a day. So emotions to me then become more like, uh, I think of them kind of like food calories at that point, because we that's something that's easy for us to relate to. We can consume so many calories in a day and not gain weight if we burn off all those calories, or we could lose weight. But if we eat more than what we can burn off, those calories have to get stuck they tend to get stuck in our body someplace. Well, that is the same way the emotions work as well. So if we have more emotions than what we can burn off in a day, those emotions get stuck in our body and they get trapped. And then they become blocked energy. And negative emotions tend to block or get stuck in our body easier than positive emotions. And the reason for that is because uh, uh, negative emotions are very slow moving. They don't move very fast. Uh, all emotions can get broken down because they're energy. It can get broken down into Einstein's equations and all that. So we don't have to get into that sciencey stuff, but they do become energy, and that becomes blocked energy then. So the lower frequency emotions, everything has a frequency to it. So the negative emotions are very slow moving, and then the positive emotions are really fast. So love, we talk about love and above a lot, and so love and higher they get faster. And I have a chart later on that shows just that. So just hang on to that idea for a moment, and then I'll give you a visual that'll make a lot more sense for you. But let's talk now about fear. And when I talk about those negative emotions, there's actually a, a component of fear in these negative emotions. Kind of think of, again, I equate them to like cookies, chocolate chip cookies. There's a lot of different recipes of chocolate chip cookies, but you do have some core ingredients in most of these cookies, right? You got flour, sugar, an egg, whatever the core ingredients are. There's some just basic ingredients. That's kind of like how fear is in all these negative emotions. They're like the core. Fear is like the core ingredient in these negative emotions. And so when we talk about fear now, we're really talking about that fight or flight response system. It's that reactionary system. It's the reptilian part of our brain that kicks in when we think we're in danger. And even though these negative emotions, we may not think we're in danger when we're having them, but because it's the reptilian brain, it's really quite simplistic when it looks at situations. It doesn't look at, oh, I'm having a disagreement with somebody at work because of da da da. It just sears anger, and that means I in fight, fight response, and I kick in the adrenaline, and then the habits get created because I know how to handle when I'm in a fight mode. Okay. So that's how our habits get created, where emotions get concerned, how traumatic experiences become post-traumatic stress, where we repeat things over and over. There's the big traumas, but there's a lot of little ones. They're more subtle when fear takes over. And any of those can create blocks in our body. So those trapped emotions then get into our body system, and they not only create habits like what we just talked about, but because they're actual chemicals, they're actual energy that's blocked from getting to certain parts of our body. It's like a dam. It's like there's a ball of, like, think of a rock in a river, a big boulder in a river. It can't go through the rock, it has to go around. So those trapped emotions are like that rock, and our natural energy flow has to go around that rock, that rock of trapped emotions. And so now that area isn't getting the proper nutrients and all sorts of our natural energy flow to that spot. So it can become a weak area. And then it can cause both a physical issue as well as creating emotional habits. And so a lot of people say, when I'm working with them and I release a trapped emotion or something, they'll say, oh, is that because of this experience, or is that helping the pain in my neck? And I say, yes, it's both. It's doing both. By releasing those trapped emotions, you're actually helping that reduce the energy that goes to the habit, and it can help ease the discomfort. And if you stick around for the demo part and want to experience what it feels like to have some of these trapped emotions, you can actually sometimes feel an immediate relief if you have a physical discomfort by releasing these trapped emotions. It's quite amazing. And I have a couple of clients right now that are dealing with a lot of old anxiety that have created health issues, and extreme health issues where the anxiety is really inhibiting their ability to do day-to-day stuff. And it's also creating a lot of stomach issues and other physical issues. And just by releasing in one session, we released a whole lot of things. They were able to get back and start doing more activities in the day. They weren't as burdened. They felt a little lighter. After the second session, they were doing even more. And they'd been to a lot of doctors. They've been taking medications. They've been doing all sorts of stuff for months and getting very little relief, and actually getting worse. And they didn't have any answers for them. We released those trapped emotions, and they were feeling better. And by the third session, they're back to work. They're doing all sorts of, having more of a normal life. So that's how powerful it is to get rid of some of these trapped emotions. And so, our body is really geared to heal. It's very good about healing. And by getting rid of these trapped emotions, it can help ourselves. And what I look for is our body can handle quite a bit of trapped emotions without it falling apart. I mean, we get usually a trapped emotion, at least one or two, or it could be a dozen every single day of our life. And most of the time, it doesn't impact us. It starts impacting us because it starts building up, and there's like this threshold of what we can tolerate. And once we exceed what that threshold, we have too many trapped emotions and we exceed that threshold. Now we're going to have both, we might have a physical and or a behavioral impact. So those folks that I've been working with, that they tolerate a lot of anxiety most of their life, until now now they're exceeded that threshold, and now their anxiety is preventing them from being able to focus, being able to sleep well. That's impacting their diet and their stomachs, their digestive system is not working hardly at all, and they're having serious um, um, abilities to eat. They have a lot of nausea and other stomach issues. And so they're well over that threshold. So we released a lot of those trapped emotions. We got them right about there around the threshold and they felt better. But you know what? They had a couple days of more stress and they went whoop, over the threshold again. So that just said, oh, we got to clear more. And we cleared some more. And now we got some padding. And that's our goal, is not only to reduce your trapped emotions so we can get you to that threshold so you're feeling better. But we really want to get you padding because you know what, no matter what, life happens, we get stressed. And we don't want to be that close to the threshold where if we have a little stressful day, we go right over that threshold and feel yucky again. So we want to get you well below that threshold. So um, we'll talk a little bit about the chakra system and how that fear impacts our healing. Because a lot of times, that fear, those trapped emotions also go into the chakra system. And I think of them more as our power system. Think of it like the power hub, your electrical hub stations that power a whole lot of your neighborhoods. That's what I see as these main chakra systems. They're like the hubs. And so, yeah, when I release individual stuff, emotions, that can help certain little areas and get your energy flowing. But I really also want to concentrate on these major hubs, these power hubs. And these are and statements. They impact all of it. We're three-dimensional, or actually four-dimensional beings, and probably even beyond dimensions, but that hurts my head thinking beyond four. So anyway, but what we need to clear the trapped emotions in these chakra systems as well. And if you stay on for the healing circle, that's exactly what I do. Is we go in and we do some deep cleansing in your chakra systems because those trapped emotions can block in our major hub system. So now if there's a big blockage in taking your flow, your energy flow coming off of these your root chakra. Your root chakra is your tribe, your sense of stability, uh, your grounding. So if you don't have a good strong ground, then boy, everything else is really out of want, out of sorts. And everything else is trying to adjust because there's such a huge distortion out of the root chakra. Another metaphor would be imagine kink in the hose. You're not getting a good flow out of it. And maybe there's multiple lines off your hose and more flow is going off in other directions in other branches of the hose. But this one area, it's hardly a trickle coming out of it because it's kink. So we need to, and maybe in the other area, it's really coming out way too hard. So we're trying to get everything cleared and then rebalanced because you don't want anything going too hard in one direction and hardly anything coming out of in another area. We want to get it all balanced and cleared and move flowing fully throughout the whole system. And so even if the root chakra has the main blockage, doesn't mean that's the only thing we clear. We have to clear everything because everything else is related. We're all intertwined. Nothing is in its own little vacuum. Whatever is happening here is impacting other areas. So so it's important then for healing when we have fear-based emotions, we have to work on the whole system. In other words, that's my long way of saying we are a system, a whole system. And so one of our paradigms in this culture is that we like to chase symptoms and then we work only on the symptom. Where I work on is, yeah, we release a few of the trapped emotions that are related to symptoms, but the main healing then goes into the system itself. So we go into the chakra system and we start clearing not just in the individual areas that have the main blocks, but when we have to rebalance and clear every area in the whole body. And that is where the healing then really occurs, is when we go into that chakra system. That is our best shot of helping your body do what it does best in healing. And that's why people don't heal a lot of times, is because they're only working on a couple of areas, and the system is still not being fully engaged in participating in the healing. So in trying to get us into a system mindset versus an individual component. So how can you help yourself? I like to teach folks how to do things for themselves and then save me for when they really are stuck. So because it's really important that if we could do something every day for ourselves, that's what we want to do. Because it's that threshold thing. You can keep yourself under that threshold pretty well by doing certain things. And then if life really takes over, then you might need an extra hand. But excuse me, you can do a lot for yourselves. So, and that's the good news. The good news is your body is really, it's amazing. It's been designed to heal. So we just need to help support that your body in doing just that. So first step is the release, we'll release some of these trapped emotions. We want to get that under the threshold and get you some padding. And then the things you can do for yourself are really simple. The first thing is it's called breathing. So I know everybody can do it, but most of the time we're breathing rather shallowly. And so we want to put in a deeper, slower breath. We want to do that several times throughout the day because it's hard to think about it nonstop and you don't want to turn it into obsessive about it. But at the same time, we want to be mindful. So that's the key is being mindful. So right now I can tell I'm not breathing very fully because I'm teaching and I'm thinking of other things. And I feel like every so often I need to slow down and take a full deep breath so I can access my thinking brain. Because when I breathe more shallow and I get nervous or anxious or anything like that, then my lizard brain takes over. And then you really breathe even more shallow. So to help stop lizard brain from engaging or taking over, or if it has taken over, the way to get your larger part of your cognitive brain engaged is the first thing to do is to breathe. Or if you're doing any energy work on your animals, some of you are working with me and learning how to communicate with animals. If your lizard brain is taken over, it's really hard to connect to an animal. So you first thing to do, breathe, breathe. Wonderful tool, and we can all do it, and you don't need any special equipment for it. We just need to slow down your breath. I like to sometimes, if I really need help getting refocused, if my lizard brain is really in control, then I'll do my the breathing in fours technique where I take a slow, deep breath in on a count of four. I hold it for 4 seconds, and then I let it go on a slow count of four. I hold wait on another count of four before I take in another slow breath on a count of four. I repeat that whole cycle 4 times. By the time I'm done with the fourth cycle, I've lowered my blood pressure, I've lowered my heart rate, I'm calmer, and now I've triggered my parasympathetic response system, which is the calming system, and I can start accessing my thinking brain. The way to supercharge that your breath and to help you get to that quieter place even faster, or if your lizard brain is in solid control and you need extra support in getting that breath to help quiet your lizard brain down, then I add in some of those high frequency emotions. I'll pick gratitude. I like gratitude because it's easy to find a few things I'm grateful for, and it doesn't have to have anything to do with anything. It just is, I want those positive chemicals into my brain body. It's like giving myself a quick little IV of calming medicine that's totally natural that my body is creating. So if I add in the gratitude as I'm doing my slow breathing, now I really tune myself up nice and high. Or sometimes I do peace and calm. I like those two are my two favorite go-tos. I don't have to think very hard on them. I make it like a mantra at that point. So as I'm breathing, I'll just repeat gratitude. And if I have a specific thing I'm grateful for, then I'll think of that. You know, it's easy. I have my cute animals, so I just, oh, I'm so grateful for how cute my animals were this morning. They were so sweet. And now my body is totally, my master chef is going, oh, yes, I remember that memory. And I'm releasing all the positive chemicals that that made me feel. And now those are coursing through my body. And it takes about 2 minutes. Okay, just think about that. 2 minutes to help you pull yourself out of lizard brain and into their quieter, calmer system. So you want to spend 2 minutes doing that several times a day or as needed. If you're in a stressful meeting, do some breathing. Nobody knows. Nobody can tell what you're doing. And you can help quiet you down so that you can actually think better instead of being reactionary because somebody's pushing your buttons. Breathe and you can maybe outsmart them if they're irritating you. Because now you're thinking with your higher cognitive brain instead of your reactionary brain. So this is the chart I wanted to show you. And you can see, I talk about love and above. So that's the green and it's going up to the purple, which is about as high as it gets. But you can see these are not just higher frequency than the lower ones of the shame, the guilt, the grief, the fear. They're magnitude stronger. So that's why spending just, if you do a couple minutes, 3 or 4 times a day of this the slow breathing and putting in the lover above, the gratitude or the peace and calm. Look at how high peace is compared to love even. So if you put in some of those really high chemicals, frequency chemicals into your body, they aren't just 5 times or 6 times stronger. They're to the power of, they're really, it's exponentially stronger. And that can really change how you get through your day with just that little bit. It's so much stronger and more powerful. It can really help you turn down the anxiety. It can turn down all sorts of stuff so that you can get active and break those habits that the fear brain puts us into. Dog. Okay, so if you're interested in needing just some quick support, you might try the Quick Cleanse package. That's 15, I have 4 15-minute phone sessions in that. That's a good one if we just need to get below that threshold. We need to get a handle of how many trapped emotions that are above that threshold. We can get a lot of trapped emotions removed and cleansing those chakras in that 15 minutes. I can do all of that in 15 minutes, believe it or not, and rebalance your energy so we can get you under that threshold. And then just to promote, I'm very excited. I was just looking at my emails and working with the person that's getting my new book out. My new children's book is coming out very soon on Amazon. And I do have another one that's already out on Amazon. The Booster the Rooster Who Couldn't Tell Time is already available. That came out about a year ago. And then this new one that I wrote and illustrated, The ABCs of Animals and Emotions. And so this one's a fun little book that not only introduces the ABCs with each page is an animal of that with that letter, but I have also put associated emotions that start with that letter. So it can start if you have kids or grandkids or nieces, nephews, friends with kids. It can help, or parent, or your educator of some sort of young children. It can really help introduce emotions as well as their ABC. So I'm excited about that one coming out, hopefully in just a few more weeks. We'll have it all ready and up on Amazon. We're in the final touches, which is very exciting. All right, so let's get into, I'm going to stop share. And if you have any questions, and I'm going to ignore Tesla, who's scratching at the door. Anybody have any questions, or we can do some demos if you would like to experience what it is to have some of these trapped emotions released. You can unmute yourself or raise your hand or put it in the chat box if you'd like.
I would love to have a demo done on me.
And who is that?
Ellen.
Hi, Ella.
Hi.
I didn't see who popped up. Okay, sure. All right, Ellen.
I would want one too. I'm home. I'm not driving
Okay.
anymore.
Okay, good.
Just when I get a chance. I'm gonna unmute myself again, or if I can find it. There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we'll do Ellen and then we'll do Lisa. Alright, so I'm tapping into Ellen. Oh, is your neck tight, Ellen?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that's about as far, I don't know if you can see me, but about a quarter, a quarter turn each way is what I'm feeling. So let's see what we can release there that can give you some relief. So unsupported is the emotion. So we got a little movement, more movement to the left, but not to the right yet. So let's release something else. Defensiveness. Okay, so now I have more to the right, a little bit, not as much to the left. You might try it to see for yourself, but it's a little mm, kind of a. I feel a little discomfort on the left. Let's try. Anxiety.
Plenty of that.
Okay. Okay, now try your neck and see if you can turn it. Be gentle. Try turning left and right and see if that's any better.
That definitely helped.
Okay, good. How about your lower back?
Um, Not so much. A little bit.
Could be. It's more on the right side. Little bit. It's just like under the right rib. That's kind of kidney area. So maybe I need to clear a kidney. Oh. Conflict. You know what? I'm going to just clear that kidney because that feels clogged.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask my guides to remember all this. So if you stay on for the healing circle, we'll do a little bit more clearing, especially in the chakra area.
Mhm.
I want to do the left just because if one is blocked, then the other one's working harder, kind of like what we were talking about in the webinar. So I want to still clear the left, even though that one doesn't feel as blocked. Okay. So watch that. Might want to drink more water or something because
Okay.
we'll need to flush those kidneys a little bit. This must be holding some of that anxiety in there
Okay.
or conflict. Ooh, and now I'm all of a sudden really hot, so that's good.
You've been working.
It means it's releasing the energies flowing. Quite often will get like a a big heat wave going through me, a hot flash, because it's going from when the energy finally gets unblocked. It's like so it's
Well,
good.
we know it's working then, right?
Yep, that's a good sign when I get that. So yep, usually it doesn't last long, thank goodness.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So again, what you want to do is kind of see how we're doing. If we got a release in that neck, you want to see how long that lasts because that will tell you how close we are to that threshold.
Mhm.
If it gets achy again, means whoop, we went right over. But because you got some relief, we do know that it's related to trapped emotion. We just need to release a whole lot, probably a whole lot more.
Okay.
But again, I'm going to tell my guides to work on that uh, during the healing circle if you stay on, and they'll do more good stuff.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And now, Lisa, you're on. you're
Oh, yep, here I am. I'm
All right.
here.
good.
And I got a whiny dog in the background. Sorry.
That's okay. I've got one scratching at the door and having a temper.
Hi.
Can't come in. I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
She loves the healing circle, so she's very upset.
Oh.
Uh, So I'm scanning you. Some frustration, gonna clear that.
Hi, Bobby.
Uh,
You know how to get up here. Uh-huh.
do you have any discomfort in the right shoulder area?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
I just felt a discomfort in the back there.
Yeah.
Some more frustration, clearing that. Taken for granted. Lack of control, clearing that. Overwhelmed. Vulnerability, clearing that. So I'm gonna recommend, oh boy, now the others are having a fit. So I'm gonna recommend a TED Talk by Brene Brown on vulnerability. It's really good. It's about 18 minutes long. It's worth it. I recommend it for everybody. I watch it like, couple times a year quite often.
What's her name?
Brene Brown, Brene Brown. I'll type it in.
Okay. Thank you.
But check out she has a number of books as well, but her TED Talk is really good on vulnerability. It's kind of, it discusses how we need to learn how to be comfortable in our vulnerability, which is
Okay.
oxymoron, but it's true. The more we get comfortable in our authentic self, then our authentic self out there means we have to be vulnerable about showing it. But when we're comfortable in who we are, then it's no big, it's not as hard because we're
Right.
solid in who we are. But we have
Right.
to practice and get comfortable in that discomfort and showing our true self, our authentic self.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Hmm.
just
Poor you.
it's release going down your spine. So that is what you needed to hear. And I
Thank you.
right shoulder
Yes.
a little better. You might check and see
Yeah.
if that's any better.
Yes, definitely.
Good. Same thing. So if we get stressed out again, it's probably that might be your tell that you've got a lot more trapped emotions, and we just need to clear it. And
Okay.
get it under
Thank you.
control. And again, get us some padding so you can handle these things. And I also do some coaching so that the stresses in our life and our business or whatever, we can reframe that so that lizard brain doesn't create that same habit that says, oh, this is how we perceive the situation. And now we get more trapped.
Right.
That whatever the pain in the neck is, whoever the
Yeah.
neck is becoming your pain in the neck. So we need to reframe that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anybody else want some trapped emotions released? Go once, twice. All righty. I'm going to stop the recording.